Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. Today I'm going to tell you the secret behind the PDS scandal. This is With All Due Respect. So, with all due respect, I'd like my fellow Ghanaians to understand that this PDS scandal is bigger than we think. Yes, it is bigger because the United States government is interested. It is bigger because a group of people in Ghana in politics, close relations, people who are greedy are involved in this. And that we have to go to the bottom of this, chase the last cent involved in this PDS scandal. Now, I'd like to tell my fellow Ghanaians that be focused. It's a simple statement. Be focused. There's so many news going around about tardy girls, the obstructions and all that. We know the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the IGP, and the security couples have assured us that they know where the girls are. So if some bones or some body parts have been found, it does not mean that those are the girls. We are taking the word of the IGP and the president that those girls will be found. As it stays now, we have to be focused and think about what is really happening. And what is really happening is the PDS scandal. Now, as everybody can see on social media, I think from yesterday, the United States government, basically the US Embassy in Ghana, has released a statement saying that they want the Ghana government to have a thorough investigation, investigation into this PDS scandal, because they think that something sketchy is happening and they think there's been some corruption detected. Now, one would say, why is the United States government involved in this? It is simple. This is the role the United States played. Through their Millennium Challenge account, they gave Ghana $580 million to help ECG. They are very much interested, not because they just want to be involved in anything. They are interested because their money is in there. Now, let's go to the real issues. But before I start the real issues, I want Ghanaians to understand that a media house like Multimedia and Peace FM, people have to understand that these two media houses have made it a point to skew the issue, have made it a point to protect some individuals. If you hear Kwame Sefakai throwing things out there saying PDS hasn't done anything wrong, some individuals, you have to understand he's got his own personal interest. He is a friend to the owner of that barbershop. Yeah, he's on their billboards. And when also you hear Multimedia making noise about having documents, about how some people are being framed, we need them to bring those documents out. Yes, they are also shielding people like Philip Ayensu, because Philip Ayensu, yes, he used to be the head of marketing at Multimedia. So, you know, these media houses have their own interests. So, Ghanaians, we have to be smart. We have to look at the right source. If you want to follow this story, I can tell people where to go. You can, the Herald newspaper is one of the newspapers that broke this story. And they have followed this story thoroughly. And I've also followed them. And I think they are giving us the right info. So if you want the right info on this issue, this PDS scandal, you can start listening or reading the Herald newspaper and they will help you out. I've read it and I think it makes sense a lot. They actually started this investigation and we should applaud that newspaper for that. Now, just put this aside. What is PDS? Let's make this simple. PDS is a cluster of companies that was vetted by MEDA. MEDA is the Millennium Development Authority. They vetted a few companies, and after they vetted these companies, they got 5 companies they put together. When they put these 5 companies together, they call them PDS. That's the Power Distribution Service. Simple. Don't make it so complicated. Now, in these 5 companies which were chosen, 2 were foreign companies. One of them was a Filipino company, and one was is a company people said is from Angola. The reason why I'm saying that is a fictitious company. The one from Angola, I'll explain that to you. But before that, let me tell you the 5 companies which were selected and put together as PDS. The first one was Manila Electric. We have Energia SA. Remember this name, Energia SA. It is supposed to be coming from Angola. We have Santa Baron Ventures. It's a Ghanaian company. We have TG Energy Solution and TGS Energy, the same. TBK Ghana Limited. So these are the 5 companies that were put together or as a consortium that could work as PDS. Now I'm going to tell you the names or characters who actually played vital role in PDS. Names and characters who are actually involved in this PDS scandal. I'm going to list their names. I'm going to tell you and show you their pictures. And then later I'll give a profile of these people, because we need to build a story here. We need to let Ghanaians understand what this PDS scandal is about. Now, the first person I would like you people to look at or to put in your books is Philip Ayensu. Philip Ayensu is on the board of the NCA and is also the board chair of PDS. When they put these 5 companies together, they elected somebody as the chairman. And he, Philip Ayensu, was made the chairman. There is David Asare. He's also owner of TG Energy Solutions. They are one of the 5 companies that came together to form PDS. Remember this name, Sufaya Koko. Sufaya Koko, she works at Dankwa Institute. Dankwa Institute, that's where she works. And she works for a law firm, which I'm going to tell you about. Remember Ejapa Mesa. Ejapa Mesa is the MP for Second D. Everybody knows Ejapa Mesa. He was very influential in this issue. He has been in Parliament. He's talked on this issue. I'll also give you a profile of Ejapa Mesa. Yofi Grant, he is the Ghana Investment Promotion Center boss. He actually heads the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, as you can see here. There's Kelly Kajepo. He's the board chairman of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. Kelly Kajepo. He is the board chairman of ECG. Then Ken Ofori-Atta, the current finance minister of Ghana, and also he is the co-founder of Enterprise Group. Remember this. Ken Ofori-Atta is the finance minister and also the co-founder of Enterprise Group and also Data Bank. Then there's Akoto Ampao. He came into the picture later, but his impact has really turned the tables. Akoto Ampao works at the law firm of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. You remember this guy was considered to be, the president was considering him as the special prosecutor, but later the parrot, Martin Amidu, was made the special prosecutor. So Akoto Ampao too is another character in this PDS scandal you have to look out for. Then there's Martin Ison Benjamin. This Martin Ison Benjamin is the boss of MEDA. Now, what is MEDA? MEDA is the Millennium Development Authority. The Millennium Development Authority basically did everything. They were the ones who vetted these 5 companies and actually were satisfied with all the documents they put in front of them. The financial documents, the technical know-how, the detail, everything. So this guy was the head of MEDA, and they were the guys who told government, we are satisfied with these 5 companies and that we can put them together as PDS and they can go ahead and do their job, collect electricity bills, and make sure the maintenance and everything is. So this guy basically is the man who was behind PDS. He and his outfit gave Ghanaians PDS because they said they have done a thorough job, due diligence on PDS, meaning all the 5 companies. Remember this name, Martin Ison Benjamin. Now let's move on. We are going to talk about the political connections. And the political connections is about how these people are connected to each other and why they are on boards and why today there's a problem. Now let's start with TGS Engineering. It's one of the companies that was put together as PDS. It was registered by Ejapa Mesa for David Asare. I hope you remember David Asare. David Asare, he's the owner of TGS Energy Solutions. This same company, Philip Ayensu says that he's the owner. So we have 2 owners for TGS, which is part of PDS. Now, the funny thing is, Ejapa Mesa registered TGS for David Asare as a lawyer. Ejapa Mesa, remember, he's the MP for Second D. He registered this company for David Asare. And then he played a role as a secretary. The MP, Ejapa Mesa, he played a role as a director. He also played a role as a lawyer. And he also played a major role as an MP. So one person, a lawyer, a secretary, and a director, he wants to tell us Ghanaians that he never had any influence in this PDS deal. He wants to tell us Ghanaians that when he was sitting in Parliament and he was contributing and voting on this issue, there was no conflict of interest. I think he should tell this to the horses. Because with me, my little knowledge, I know this guy is a first-class corporate in this issue. Because you can't be a director, and you can be a secretary, and you can be a lawyer. I think he has questions to answer. Now, I talked about Sofia Koko. The Sofia Koko lady, she is directly connected to the Dankwa Institute. Now, her law firm is called Minka Premo Law Firm. That is where she works. She's also a director at TGS Energy Solutions. This is the same company that Ejapa Mesa registered. He is saying that he registered for David Asare. So just do the connections. Let's keep going. Yeah, this one is going to be a very complicated one, my fellow Ghanaians. So we should take our time and follow the story. Now, I mentioned Yofi Grant. He is the boss of Ghana Investment Promotion, right? Yeah, Yofi Grant. The reason why his name comes in is because I told you about Enegia SA, which is an Angolan company. It is one of the 5 companies that was picked and put together to the other 4 companies to become PDS. Now, when the address of this company was traced, it went all the way straight to Yofi Grant's office in Ghana. This company says they are based in Angola, but when the address was traced, where do they live in Angola? Where's the contact? It goes all the way to a building in Accra on this address, 23 Switchback Road, Cantonment. It went into that building and it ended up in Yofi Grant's office. When I say Yofi Grant's office, not the office he occupies as a GIPC boss. His personal private company, that is his personal office. That is where the address ended. Now we have to understand that Yofi Grant's company, Grant Dupree, is also based in Ghana. And then this company, which is part of PDS, shares the same address. Yes, they share the same address with Grant Dupree, which is Yofi Grant's company. This will pop up later. My fellow Ghanaians, follow the line. Just focus. What I'm telling you, there are names here, there are figures here, there are contradictions here, but focus. And I'm going to tell you where the scandal started and why we should be serious about this issue. This is one of the biggest scandal to hit this country as a nation. And we have to help the world to know it, because the MPP party communicators have made every Ghanaian understand that we can send our story out there to the New York Times, to the Washington Post, to the Guardian. We also have to help them for them to understand that this is what is happening in Ghana, and that if the American government wants to do an investigation, we are here to help them know the people involved in this super hefty scandal. Now, let's move on. In the building where Yofi Grant has his company, Grant Dupree, where the Angolan company's address was traced, in this same building, that building belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta. Yes, that same building belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta. And remember that Ken Ofori-Atta is the co-founder of Enterprise Group. Enterprise Group, what they do is they are into trustee, they are into life insurance, they are into property management, big stuff. This building belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta. He has his wife's office in there. Yeah, they have a funeral home. They are all in there. It belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta. And now, Ken Ofori-Atta, who is the owner of this building, is also connected to Yofi Grant. Let's move on. Don't say anything. I'm going to show you the connection here. Now, let's talk about Kelly Kajepo. Remember, I talked about Kelly Kajepo. He's the board chairman of ECG. Now, this guy is also the chief executive of Enterprise Group, which is partly owned by the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. Don't get confused. Ken Ofori-Atta is the co-founder of Enterprise Group. The Enterprise Group's office is in the building where Yofi Grant's company is, Grant Dupree. Grant Dupree shares the same address with the Angola company, which is part of PDS. The Angola company we know nothing about, we can't trace. Their address goes straight into Yofi Grant's office. Now, Kelly Kajepo also is the CEO, is the chief executive officer of the Enterprise Group, which is owned by Ken Ofori-Atta. So there's a link there. Let's keep going. And don't forget that Ken Ofori-Atta, Yofi Grant, Kelly Kajepo, and Togbe Afedi, these are the guys who came together to form Data Bank. Ken Ofori-Atta, Yofi Grant, Kelly Kajepo, and Togbe Afedi. These people came together to form Data Bank. The only person we are not seeing here is Togbe Afedi. He is the person who is not showing up in this PDS scandal. But apart from Togbe Afedi, those people we can see in this scandal are Ken Ofori-Atta, Yofi Grant, and Kelly Kajepo. Let's move on. We are not done there. Now remember I mentioned Martin Ison Benjamin. He is a crucial person in this scandal. The reason is this guy is the boss of MEDA, the Millennium Development Authority. They are the guys who at the end of the day cleared these 5 companies and said they have done due diligence. They know that these guys have the financial muscle. They have the technical know-how to take up this job. So this guy played a vital role in the beginning of this. This guy is a member of the board. He's on the board of Enterprise Group, which is partly owned by Ken Ofori-Atta. This guy is also on the board of Enterprise Group. So if you notice, Enterprise Group is like a hub. All these guys are around it, and that is where they feed. That is where they suck the blood. And that is the headquarters. And this enterprise group belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister. And you have to understand, this issue came about, this fracas and all that started when Ken Ofori-Atta got angry about something. We will get there, but I want people to understand. He is on the board of Enterprise Group. Yes, this company belongs to the Enterprise Group. I said partly belongs to Ken Ofori-Atta and Kelly Gajepo. I hope you remember Kelly Gajepo. He is the board chairman of the ECG. So Kelly Gajepo and Ken Ofori-Atta are behind Enterprise Group. After Parliament approved it in July, there was supposed to be some restructuring. That is what caused all this. The restructuring was that PDS wrote to MEDA and said that, you know what, we wanted to bring 3 companies on board to help us. That is part of the restructuring. Now, the reason why they wrote to MEDA was because they thought MEDA started this process. MEDA is the Millennium Development Authority headed by Martin Eson Benjamin. So they wrote to them, with all due respect, MEDA, we want to bring these companies on board. Ghana Infrastructure Investment, PBK World Plus Limited, Anthony Otin AJ Company, to come on board to help PDS. They did that because they know MEDA had the authority to do that. It was part of the restructuring. Now, some people in Parliament and government got angry. On the 27th of March, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, also decided to write a letter to MEDA to tell them that he's putting together a team, a committee, which is going to be headed by Akoto Ampao, lawyer Akoto Ampao, who works at the law firm of the sitting president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He wants that guy to take over that committee and make those restructuring possible. Now, this is where the resistance started. This is the beginning of the end for this PDS scandal. My fellow Ghanaians, this is just the beginning. In the next episode, I'll be telling you what caused all this leakage in this PDS scandal. But before I leave, I have some few questions to ask these people involved in this scandal. My first question goes to the boss of MEDA, yes, Martin Eson Benson. I would like to ask him, how did they select these companies? It's a simple question. How did they select? How did MEDA select these companies? I also like to ask him, how transparent was the process? He has to answer these questions. These are simple questions because his answers will guide us in the next episode. How transparent was the process? Now, I would also like to ask, what is the relationship between Ken Ofori-Atta, the MEDA boss, who is Eson Benson, and also the board chair of the Electricity Company Limited, who is in the name of Kelly Gajepo? What is the relationship between Ken, the MEDA boss, and the EC board chair? I also like to ask the energy minister. I would like to ask the information minister. I would like to ask the finance minister that which specific document was forged and by which company? This is a simple question because they raised that issue. The government raised that issue. Which specific document was forged and by which company? When I say which company, there were 5 companies that came together to form PDS. We would like to know which specific company forged those documents. Now, I would like to ask the finance minister, I would like to ask that who gave the finance minister the power to set up that committee that he wanted Ampao to lead? Who gave him that power? Is it a constitution or his office? Who gave him that power or that audacity or authority to set up that committee? My fellow Ghanaians, this and many more in the next episode. In the next episode, we will be looking at the people involved critically. I told you, be focused. Look at the issues. Forget about the distractions. Chase the last cent. That is what we are looking at. We need to find the culprits in this massive scandal. And I'll do my best to bring you the right information. Trust me, undiluted information on this show with all due respect. My name is Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, and this is With All Due Respect.